What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Side Guys Football Forum. I am one of your co-hosts, Summer the Side, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of the Side Guys, Mr. Tad the Side. And Tad, we're only a couple weeks away from the Super Bowl, but before we get to the Super Bowl, obviously, we have to figure out which teams are playing in the Super Bowl. So we are finally here at Championship Weekend. We got the AFC game and the NFC game both happening on Sunday. Tad, you know I'm excited, but how are you feeling about this?
Shocker.
How are you feeling about this championship weekend?
Well, I'm sorry, buddy, but I don't really find myself that excited by the 49ers. Obviously, I hate the Rams for very obvious reasons because they screwed my city, but that's besides the point. I won't get into that rant now. So the NFC side of things, I'm a little less interested in. The AFC side, that is exactly what I was hoping for. Like this Chiefs-Bengals matchup, I am so psyched for. Whatever matchup happens, I am absolutely there for. So, I guess that's a spoiler alert of whoever wins the AFC, that's who I'm going to be cheering for in the Super Bowl.
All right. Good to know.
I'm sorry, but your 49ers, I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo going 10 for 20 in the Super Bowl. I don't want that with my Super Bowl weekend.
No, I can understand that. That's been the common thread sort of in Twitter so far. It's just like, people are interested in seeing the Niners, not so much interested in seeing Jimmy Garoppolo. So it's like a little bit
if you guys had any other quarterback, I'd be very down. Like seeing Deebo Samuel rush for like 200 yards on Super Bowl Sunday would be awesome. But not if it means watching Jimmy Garoppolo throw like 100 ducks. Like that just doesn't entice me at all.
Nope, no worries. Like I said, you're not alone in that boat of not wanting to see Jimmy Garoppolo in the Super Bowl. But you know what? I'll take him because you know what? That just means the Niners are going to be in the Super Bowl. But hey, let's break down both these.
Your team's in the playoffs, so what the hell do I have to say? Like.
So yeah, let's definitely break down both of these games. We're going to start in chronological order. So the first game is the AFC game. Already talked about it. We got the Cincinnati Bengals, the number 4 seed, playing the Kansas City Chiefs, the number 2 seed. It's happening at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and that is on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus as well. In case you're not near TV, which I'd be surprised if you're a football fan and you're not near TV at championship weekend.
You have Paramount Plus, and that's the way you're watching this game. That I'm worried for you.
Yeah, that would be a little bit surprising. But hey, things happen. But so the availability is there in case you're not near TV. So, Tad, I know you're super excited about this game, so I'll give you first crack on a preview and a prediction for it.
I mean, hey, like I said, this is the game I was hoping for. Well, okay. Not quite the game I was hoping for. I was really hoping for Bengals Bills. Because if it was that matchup, no matter who would have won, I would have been happy, right? Because it's a long franchise drought without a Super Bowl. Like that was the storyline I was really hoping for. But hey, Bengals Chiefs isn't bad either. Like the Chiefs,
True.
I understand, they've been the recent dynasty, but like I think we've given them the title of dynasty a little too early. Because we have to remember they've only won one Super Bowl in the last 3 years, which again, I know they've been in 2 of the last 3 years, but they're not a dynasty yet. So,
and, just to piggyback off that, you don't want to fall into this trap because people did this with the Seattle Seahawks during the middle of the 2010s.
Great comparison.
They won the Super Bowl against the Broncos, and then they lost to the Patriots the following year. And then everybody's like, well, is this the beginning of the dynasty? Legion of Boom, Russell Wilson, all this stuff. And they haven't gotten to a Super Bowl since. So, yeah, let's tap the brakes on calling the Chiefs a dynasty right now. They're a really strong team. There's nothing about that that's, wrong there. But just, yeah, let's hold up on the dynasty talk.
And it's a very similar situation as well of like, okay, we were able to build up this roster because we had a great quarterback on a cheap contract. But the second the Seahawks paid Russ, that's when their downturn started. And the Chiefs have already paid Patrick Mahomes. So there we go. So regardless, say if the Chiefs end up winning this game, I won't be upset, but I'm openly cheering for the Bengals here. I will very willingly admit that, but I think it's going to be a really good high-scoring game, especially because Tyrann Mathieu is officially questionable for this game. I would be shocked if he played because here's the thing. With stuff like, Orlando Brown and other stuff where there are some questionable injuries out there, unfortunately, it's the NFL. You just stick with like what, is the equivalent of horse tranquilizer Say the word for me, Amir.
Tranquilizers.
Thank you. Tranquilizers. Did I say that right?
Kind of.
There we go. God damn it. But basically, you shoot them full of painkillers and they're
There
good
you
to
go.
Yeah, there we are. But this is an act. That's the worst part. Is I can't do it. But anyway, but with a concussion, there isn't no out. There's no easy out for NFL trainers and NFL teams. If you have a concussion, you're not playing. It's simple as that. Especially in today's game. So while he's questionable, I really would be shocked if I saw Matthew play. So that Chiefs secondary is going to be very, very vulnerable to a loaded Cincinnati offense. And I know everyone is saying, hey, look at Cincinnati. They won their first matchup, but I think that was the exception to the rule there. And so I'm really worried about if the Bengals can keep up with the Chiefs. So the reason I say that is the Bengals gave up 9 sacks and barely beat a bad Titans offense. And before I hear all those people yelling at me, yeah, Titans, your defense was bad. Your offense is also pretty bad with Ryan Tannehill. So I'm sorry. But besides Monty Hook, okay, I'm going to do a quick quiz for you. Monty Hooker, I believe Jeffrey Simmons, Bud Dupree. Name one other Tennessee defensive player.
Kevin Byard.
Damn it.
Christian Fulton, right? Is the rookie that they drafted too?
All right. Well, rookies don't count. Whatever. My entire point is this defense is pretty.
Harold Landry?
Is he still there?
I think so.
Okay, I'll fact check you on that later.
Okay.
The whole point is this Tennessee defense is not inspiring a whole lot of confidence.
No, you're right.
And the Cincinnati offense still struggled against them because that offensive line is so bad. So when you have guys like Frank Clark and Chris Jones, and all you really need to do is just drop your linebackers and your secondary into zone coverage to make sure Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd aren't beating you deep, and then you just rely on that pressure to get to Joe Burrow, that you're going to win. That's a pretty solid plan right there. So I think Kansas City, and this is the brilliance of how they built up the roster, has the ability to do so. So is this going to be a close game? 100%. I'm not going to say the Bengals are going to lose big time, especially because here's an interesting stat for you, Mer. Kansas City has given up 4.8 yards per carry to every running back they faced. Now, that's second worst in the NFL. Now, Joe Mixon has absolutely sucked the last 7 weeks of play. So if Cincinnati, and more specifically Zach Taylor, can say, okay, we're not going to panic, we're going to stick with this run game, I think that Cincinnati actually has a solid chance. But I'm not totally confident that Zach Taylor has the confidence to not freak out once they're down 14-zip and start just passing it all the time. So it entirely depends on Joe Mixon. I think he is the X factor in this game. If they, rely on him in the passing game and in the running game, he'll do well. He will do well, and the Bengals will do well. But if my prediction, turns out to be correct, where the Bengals abandon the run and just start passing it, I think the Chiefs are just going to outlast them. So ultimately, I think this will be a close game. But I have the Kansas City Chiefs winning 30-24.
I have the same exact final score, but I'll get into my predictions.
Really?
So I think a lot of people,
guys, we do not talk about this.
Doesn't happen. Yeah.
This is not something that.
Yeah. This is 100%, coincidence there. But
Damn
I think a lot of people predicted the Chiefs would be playing in this game, come the preseason. I know they struggled, but everybody was like, they're going to right the ship. They're going to be just fine when they get to the playoffs, which is exactly what's happening. Joe Burrow in this offense playing really well, but just that defense that defense is playing really well, but I don't know if they're gone against a really, really potent offense in Kansas City. So it's going to be tough for them to stop them.
No, 100% not. I mean, look at again, I'm not saying Ryan Tannehill is a terrible quarterback. He's middle tier. Yeah. And they struggled even against him. So I agree with you. I think that Chiefs are a little, and here's another thing to keep in mind. Patrick Mahomes, 7-1 in AFC playoff games. The reason I say that is because obviously the Super Bowl loss, so I'm counting that off. But in the AFC playoff games, he's 7-1. That one loss against Tom Brady.
Exactly. And so for me, a big factor is just, yeah, the Chiefs defense. Can they generate pressure on Joe Burrow? Because I know you mentioned that, they could sort of drop into coverage. They could cover all the receivers that Cincinnati has. But if you look at that game against Buffalo, just sort of to counteract that point, it's just they stopped
Fair.
Stephon Diggs. I think he had like, what? 10 yards total off of like 7 targets and 3 receptions or something like that at one point. Like it was very, very low for a guy of Stephon Diggs' caliber. But then what happened? Gabriel Davis had the game of his life.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God, it was literally record breaking, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
four
Yeah.
touchdowns, I think 200 plus receiving yards. Like, I mean, seriously, towards the end of the game, it's like, this guy is killing you. You need to cover him. Yet the Chiefs weren't doing it still. So it was just surprising to see each and every score that he was making, especially in those final crazy minutes. So Bengals have themselves a good amount of receivers too. So it's like, yeah, maybe they'll focus all their attention on Jamar Chase, but they still got T. Higgins. They still got Tyler Boyd. CJ Zama's actually been pretty good in the postseason as well. So it's like, they got these other weapons that could beat the Chiefs as well in case they decide to focus on one receiver only. And, the Chiefs have a good secondary, but just not good enough to stop all of the weapons that Bengals have the passing offense. But if they get that pressure on Joe Burrow, that's going to be the really turning tide because the Chiefs
And it's very easy to get that pressure too. That's the key.
because that's the big thing. The Bengals have allowed the third most sacks in the league during the regular season. Problem is the Chiefs only generated the fourth fewest sacks on defense. So that's the big factor there. So it's like, is the offensive line going to give in to this bad pass rush, or is bad pass rush just not going to be good enough to get past this offensive line? Because the Chiefs allowed 9 sacks to the Titans. The Chiefs have to generate at least like 2, 3, or 4 to stop Burrow. So we saw an amazing game, and here's the big thing too that I want to bring up. The Chiefs have scored 42 points in back-to-back playoff games. Tad, the Bengals have allowed teams during the regular season to score 30 or more points in 4 games. They went 1-3 in those games. But here's the caveat. That one win came against the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's really, I don't know.
That's the hard thing about this early game. I think that was just a weird outlier of like,
It's
we
true.
constantly talk about that. Like they were just that's the NFL. There's just these games where like, well, shit happens. And I think this was a shit happens game.
No, I completely agree. Like I said, I think that's one of those sort of outlier things, exactly like you said. But when it comes against a team like that, you sort of hold it. That's like, hey, we came back against this team. They got the game-winning field goal. They were able to pull out the win there. So I think this game is going to be closer than a lot of people are predicting. A lot of people are predicting the Chiefs to absolutely blow out the Bengals. I think it's going to be back and forth. But the Chiefs ultimately, they have the experience. They're hosting their 4th straight AFC playoff game, if I remember correctly, AFC title game. So it's like,
yeah, I think they're the first team in history to host 4 straight AFC championships.
Exactly. So they have the experience there. Obviously, Andy Reid, his playoff experience going back to the Philadelphia days as well.
He's
so
a Hall of Famer, by the way, right? I know that's a separate issue, but Andy Reid definite Hall of Famer at this point.
100%. So it's like, I think they have the experience on their side. The Bengals are still the new kids on the block. They're going to take this and learn from it. But, I already sort of teased it earlier. I got the Chiefs winning this game. Same score, 30-24 over the Bengals. So, Tad, you're going to have to reel me into this one again, because let's move on to the NFC game here. We got my number 6 San Francisco 49ers traveling to play the Los Angeles Rams, the number 4 seed at SoFi Stadium. Really quick, Tad, what do you think about all this, like, ticket issues where Rams fans are like, don't sell to Rams fans, and Ticketmaster putting a block on selling to NorCal residents? Then they took it off, and it's like, from what I'm hearing, reports are that 65% of ticket sales are going to NorCal residents. So it looks like it's going to be another home game for the Niners, but it's like, I really don't know. So it's just like, what do you take with all that before we get into our talk here of the game?
I'm so glad you brought this up, because I haven't looked a lot into this. I've just kind of seen the Bleacher Report alerts and stuff. So my understanding is basically that just 49ers fans are buying a lot more tickets than Rams fans. Is that the right take on this, or what's going on with this?
Essentially, that's what it seems like. And it just, I think,
Hold on. So you're telling me that the city of Los Angeles actually doesn't care about the Rams, but yet they took them away from a city that would actually sell out a stadium that actually cared about them in St. Louis, and now that they're reaping the consequences of that. Oh, that's a shame. Let me, I think I have my tiny violin somewhere around here. Let me find that somewhere. No, good. Because
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know I'm pissing off a lot of LAFB people here. Look, Los Angeles does have a lot of loyal followers with, the Rams and the Chargers. I'm not going to deny your fandom. I'm not doubting that. But here's the issue with moving teams is when you move teams, this is what happens. You lack that kind of, initial connection because I'm sure, is this exaggeration to say you've been waiting for another Super Bowl shot for years now? Do you really think people in LA, if the Rams lose another Super Bowl, are going to give a crap? Like, if they lose, they're just going to go out in LA and just party all night. Like, doesn't really matter to people in LA.
Yeah. No, it's true. And obviously, they got a lot of teams in LA that they can support too. So they got the Lakers and the Clippers and the Kings in hockey and, Anaheim Ducks.
Oh my God.
They got a lot of other things they can worry about.
You are just making me sadder and sadder with each team you name.
The Dodgers, the Angels. I mean, there's a lot of things they got there. So, but yeah, I agree.
Did you really just say they have the Lakers? Have you seen the Lakers recently?
Honestly, I think we're diverting here, but it's just like, yeah, I think they'll be just fine. Fine.
See, this is what happens when you lead me down the path of let's talk about the LA and the Rams.
But, yeah.
No, I mean, it's interesting because, obviously home field advantage is a huge thing. It's very interesting in this way is because I honestly really do believe that the big reason why you guys won last weekend is Rodgers does not do that well in cold weather. So the home field advantage for Green Bay, I think actually played against them. So that whole home field thing. But if all those statistics are true and there are more Niners fans there, maybe the Rams lose their home field advantage, which will be a very interesting dynamic to kind of, keep track of.
Exactly. So go ahead and jump into your take here for the actual game itself.
Okay, so brace yourself for a real shocker here. The one thing the Rams have to do, and this is something I'm sure you've never heard from anyone else before.
I'm waiting for it.
The Rams have to be able to rush Jimmy G. I know. I'm a football genius. No one else has ever had that take. But no, in all seriousness, that is why Jimmy G is the Rams' kryptonite. Is because he's the perfect fit for Mike Shanahan. By the way, I love the fact that, what was it, like 6 weeks ago, people were like, oh, could Shanahan get fired? And now it's all, all of a sudden, like, we're good with him again. That's
it wasn't even 6 weeks ago. It was like even later than that. It was like maybe
exactly
a couple months ago. Everybody's like calling for this guy's head, and now everybody's praising him once again. It's just I don't understand it.
I love the NFL, but but no, I think this is why Shanahan wanted Jimmy G, because he understands that offense so well of like, okay, yeah, Donald's going to get to me in 3 seconds. So I got to get rid of it immediately. And before people think that's an exaggeration, guess what the average in his last 2 games against the Rams, guess what the average Jimmy G got rid of the ball was in terms of seconds?
Probably going to say somewhere around like 2.1 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you went a little under. It's 2.3.
Okay.
But still, like, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, he has a very quick release. It's not even just against the Rams, but just like, yeah, he naturally has a really quick release. It's just sometimes those releases go to not the right places they need to be going.
Yeah, that's kind of, sorry, Emmanuel Sanders' overthrow being the peak example. I'm sorry, I have to bring it up.
It's not just him. We had the overthrow to Brandon Ayuk in the Packers game. We had the overthrow to Kyle Juszczyk in the Titans game. So it's not just Sanders, but the Sanders one hurt the most probably.
So, but that's exactly my point. Is this is what's so hard to call about this game? Is it's scheme versus talent. Are the Rams more talented? 100%. Do the 49ers have a better scheme? 100%. So it's just like, that's why, honestly, it's impossible for me to call. But I will say, I think that the Rams have enough talent to overcome the 49ers. So like I said, Jimmy Garoppolo, he, averages getting the ball out of his hands 2.3 seconds. But I think if McVay is smart, he will recognize that and game plan for that. But I will put a qualifier on that. That is saying this is the same guy that got a little too. I'm about to piss off a lot of LAFB people here.
You've already done it so many times this episode already.
Exactly,
just
whatever.
What's another one going to hurt you?
I think McVay got a little too full of himself during that Patriots Super Bowl, and he kept being like, "No, I'm the deep passer guy. I can make the air raid work in the NFL. Screw it, I'll make this work with Goff." And he kept trying those deep passes, and it just wasn't quite working. So going to the Rams offense, I think that if McVay sticks with that Stafford kind of, short pass rhythm offense of like, okay, now we're, kind of going like that, I think that could really work for the Rams because I don't really see this defense having a solution for your offense. The rush defense is fine, but not great. And with Debo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell and all these guys, like it's a Shanahan offense with 7 different players being able to rush for like 100 yards.
Yeah.
I don't think you should count your defense. I think it should all be on the offense. So I think it falls on McVay of like, okay, do you have the confidence to admit that your original game plan was wrong? Or are you going to stick with that to try to prove you were right? So I think it all depends on the Rams offense because if they're consistently trying to get Stafford to air it out, go long, they're gonna lose. But I think McVay has learned his lesson. I think that he will be able to adjust and that ultimately, again, because here's the whole thing. It took everything the Rams had. I know they had that weird collapse and everything, but it literally took Odell Beckham Jr., Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford, all these guys just to beat a beat up Tom Brady team. That is so much talent. So, unfortunately, I think it's a little too much talent for San Francisco to overcome. So, with that said, I think it will be the Rams 24, San Francisco 20. I don't feel great about that prediction. I hate trying to predict this game. I don't know what's going to happen.
I agree with you. I'm not sure which way it's going to go. I think both these teams are very, very good. Obviously, they play in the NFC West. They know each other. So far, Shanahan has had McVay's number, but you wonder with everything on the line, does McVay finally, solve the Shanahan conundrum and get past that? It's so hard to predict either way. But the big thing for me comes to whoever can capitalize on turnovers if there's turnovers in this game. I think there will be, obviously, but just 100%. Who can capitalize on them?
Because we're talking about Matt Stafford and Jimmy G here. They're going to be turnovers.
I know. And it's not just those two. Obviously, there's fumbles from other players and things like that, too. But I'm just saying that in that Week 10 game when the Niners and Rams played, 49ers were able to capitalize both of the interceptions by Matt Stafford. They scored 14 points off of those turnovers. That's how they were able to.
I believe that first one was a pick six, right?
The second one was a pick six. So you're almost right. But yeah, so biggest thing is just they were able to capitalize off that. They got up to an early lead, sort of put, the momentum all on their side. If you go to that Week 18 game, the Niners went 3 and out off of one of their interceptions, and the other interception was the game-ending interception. So that was, them. But the Rams were able to get an interception. They were able to drive and get points off of that one, keep it close in that game. But just, points off of the turnovers, that's going to be crucial. If you're settling for field goals or 3 and outs, that's what's going to hurt you and prevent you from taking a lead, taking some of the momentum in this game. One thing I want to bring up is that it's also going to be a huge trench game. And I know that's usually the case with a lot of games that are big moment games like this, like championship games, the Super Bowl. Whoever has the better trench play, both on offensive and defensive side of the ball, usually will come away with the victory. But in this case, it's very crucial because Trent Williams is questionable. It's not guaranteed he's going to play. I think for sure he's going to play. I don't know why you wouldn't play this game unless you're that hurt, but I think he's really going to push through it because then he'll get the extra week off leading up to the Super Bowl if they make it to the Super Bowl. So I think he's going to push through to play it, but he may be a little bit hobbled at times. Von Miller has definitely picked it up in the postseason. Obviously, Aaron Donald
steal that game for him. People, I know they're talking about the whole Matt Stafford clocking thing, but Von Miller strip stack, without that could have been an entirely different game.
Very true. Very true. So the Rams have good pressure that they could get on Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo, whenever he gets pressured, that leads to bad decisions. That happened in the Dallas Cowboys game. Through that interception, Dallas was right back in it. It got a lot dicier towards the end as a Niners fan for sure. And then the same thing for the Niners. They have generated 10 sacks in the past 2 games alone in the postseason. So this defensive line is getting after the quarterback. So if they could do that again with the Rams, same thing. Matt Stafford will be forced to put in some bad decisions, air it out deep. I know the 49ers secondary is not that great, but if you're going to throw out a lame pass out there, I think the 49ers secondary can at least pick it off there. So yeah, I think both sides, it's going to be who can hold up better to protect their quarterback. Whoever can do that more in this game, they will come out with the victory. I think that's 100% going to be an accurate statement once this game is done. And for me, I think the Niners will be able to hold up just enough and get enough
Shocker.
pressure and get enough pressure on the
Wow.
other side. Yeah, I think so. I really just think so
Wow.
that they have it there. So yeah, I got them. Like I said, it's hard for me not to believe in this team anymore because I thought they were going to lose against the
Dude,
Packers.
I mean,
They kept it going.
I've counted them out the last 2 rounds. What the hell do I know?
And it's just like they were able to pull out the victory. A little bit of luck has been on their side too. So it's like they got that luck, a little bit of the Cinderella story factor, whatever you want to call it. But just like things are going right with this team, and it's hard to count them out. So yes, maybe it's a homer call, maybe it's a bias pick. I really don't care. I got the Niners winning this game, going to their second Super Bowl in 3 years, 23-17 over the Rams.
Okay. All right, there we go. But like I said, I totally agree with you. It all depends on McVay's game plan. If he keeps if he commits that long, just give Stafford 5 seconds, he's not going to have 5 seconds. Your defensive line's too good for that.
Yeah.
So that's why I was talking about with the short rhythmic, kind of offense. If McVay goes to that, I think you guys are screwed. But if, he gets too confident again and goes, no, we can air it out to OBJ and we can make this happen. Yeah, you guys got this in the back, 100%. I'm not saying the Niners are out of this. You guys are definitely a player to get back near a Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%. But it should be a good game. I think both games should be really good games for sure. It should be fun, a very fun championship weekend. We'll see which two teams advance on. But yeah, besides the championship weekend, we definitely got some content for you once the Super Bowl rolls around. We tease this in our podcast, but we're going to tease it here as well. We're going to be doing a live stream for the Senior Bowl, which is the week before the Super Bowl, happening on February 5th, 1:30 p.m. Central Time, 11:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're Mountain Time, I guess it's 12:30 p.m. So, I mean, yeah. Those are the times, fact check on that.
I'm glad you clarified the Mountain Time now. That was good.
It's the only one that gets left out of all of those there. So I figured
there's a reason for that. It's a stupid time zone.
Fair, but it's happening on February 5th. We're going to be doing a live stream with myself, Tad, obviously, and we're going to be joined by two friends of the newest podcast on the LAFB network. That is the Draft in Session podcast, hosted by Jamal and Will. So they're going to be joining us during the game. They'll be, we're going to be broadcasting the entire 3-hour game. We're going to be jumping in and out, so different people will be on at different times because, obviously with bathroom breaks and, just a little bit of a break here and there, we're not going to be on the entire 3 hours. But yes, we will be live streaming the entire 3 hours. That's for sure. Somebody will be on. We'll be going through the game. We can't broadcast the game, so just tune into the game at the same time. Watch us. We'll give our reactions. We'll give our thoughts as far as how players are doing, who's raising their stock, who's dropping their stock. It's going to be a really fun thing for us to do. And if it's successful, hey, we'll probably do some more during the regular season, maybe the preseason, maybe next year's postseason. I mean, who knows?
Well, I was about to say maybe even a combine live watch.
Hey,
maybe,
it could be in the
not
cards.
A live watch, but I don't know, maybe a live reaction or something. I don't know. We'll play around. Bottom line is, if you guys tune in, we're gonna experiment more. So that's the thing. Is if you want more content, you gotta tune in, and then we will just we're not gonna say no to basically anything. We'll be like, hey, let's give it a shot. Why not? That's
we're
basically
kind of
our
open.
approach.
We're definitely experimenting this offseason, definitely once we get to the regular season too. But yeah, make sure you come on, join us for the live stream. You can interact with us at the chat. We'll make sure to shout you out if you give us some props or dab us up or anything like that. So yeah, make sure to tune in for that live stream. And hey, best way you can follow about everything that's happening with the Side Guys Football Forum. Tad's already pointed it out. I'm going to point it out too. You got that ticker right at the bottom. You got my personal handle, Under the Side 23. You got Tad's at Tad the Side 94. You got the show handle, The Side Guys. Interact with us. Let us know what you think about the championship weekend. Let us know who you think is going to make it to the Super Bowl. Who do you like in the Senior Bowl? I mean, just talk to us. We want to interact with you on Twitter. We'll definitely interact with you back. We'll give you a shout out on both the YouTube videos as well as the podcast possibly. But yeah, to everybody that's tuning into the videos, who's tuning into the podcast, who's interacting with us, who gave us a good rating. I mean, just anything and everything in between, guys. We really just can't thank you enough. It's awesome.
And guys, don't forget, if you message us on Twitter, or not even message us, if you just tweet at us your score predictions for the AFC and NFC championships, and you land closer than Amir's prediction or my prediction, we'll send you a prize, a cash prize. That's, well, not literally cash. It'll be via Venmo, but we will send you a money prize. So be sure to participate in that. I'm sure we'll do another one with the Super Bowl. And honestly, we might figure out another prize for the Senior Bowl going forward. So the interaction on Twitter is the best way to, get the most out of listening to the show. We know you listen to it. We appreciate it, but interact with us on Twitter. Get the most out of your experience. So as always, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm excited for the offseason. We have a lot of fun stuff coming forward. So just stay tuned, and it's going to be a lot of fun this offseason.